Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Villa in Noir. It's Julian here. I want to welcome you to Midweek Mashup. I know it's Thursday. I know it's late in the week. I'm really sorry about that, but we're here, man. I've had a chance to calm down after, a poor Everton performance, and then also the knockout of Brentford in the Carabao Cup, or being knocked out by Brentford in the Carabao Cup the other night. And before I get into anything, I just want to say whoop, 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 because man has reached 50 subscribers, considering I've been doing this for a couple of weeks. I know it's not major for everybody else, but that's a nice little milestone for me. And hopefully I want to encourage you to keep subscribing, man. Keep subscribing, keep liking, keep sharing this with people. It's getting traction. People are enjoying it. And, I really appreciate those that are on this journey with me and are enjoying the content. The comments from the last Midweek Mashup was actually really good and great interaction. So, again, anything that you think, anything that you're seeing, anything that you feel I'm wrong about, put it in the comments, man. And let's have conversation. But yeah, so the next master, let's go for 100, man. Let's get to 100 as soon as possible, man. Let's get to 100. Encourage somebody else to subscribe to this channel, man. I mean, really enjoying it. It's been fun to do the watch alongs as much as they've been kind of like annoying because we keep losing. It's been good at the same time. Really enjoyed the interaction, especially the other night as well. But yeah, I've calmed down after those two poor games. We didn't lose against Everton, but we didn't have a great performance against Everton, and we lost against Brentford. I've calmed down, but sorry, I've calmed down, and in calming down, and I having looked at the stats and having looked at certain things from the statistics and really kind of evaluating the game, especially on Brentford, the question that I have to ask, are we kind of trending in the right direction? And I know that might sound mad, but we're going to get into it as to why I'm saying this. You'll see when I show you some things, when I share my screen, why I'm saying this. Because at the top of the league, after the first few games, before the international break, I was saying that, we're not progressing into the final third. We're not able to do anything. All of our plays in one little area. We're going side to side, between the defensive midfielders and then the centre backs, and we're not really getting much progression. And I'm not saying that we're not there. We're not there. We're nowhere near there. However, I feel like the performance on Tuesday might be an indication of what Emery's trying to do. And it's for the players to do it. So I may not be as down as I was the other day, but I think for me, how we play against Sunderland on Saturday is so key. Sunday. We're playing on Sunday is massive. That will determine how I feel about whether we're going in the right direction or not. But before we get there, again, we have injuries of this weekend. So Anana's still out. Yuri's still out. Anana apparently had a similar injury to Kamara, who's back now. So they're saying that he might be a week or two away. Yuri caught an injury last week. They saying that it's better than expected, which is good, which means we won't be missing him for too much. Although I don't think he's had his greatest start to the season, but he's so influential for us. Lindelof picked up something just before the game the other day. But I think they're saying that he should be a game time decision or on the day decision for Saturday. Obviously Barkley's still out. Apparently it's personal issues. And then Garcia, they're saying that Garcia is on the mend. And for me, he is a key component for us. I feel like depending on his performances, it will determine whether he is the number one right back for us by the end of the season, which I do hope, because I think going forward, he is tremendous. Tremendous, as my old pastor would say. So yeah. So as I said, I feel like we're trending in the right direction. I think there's going to be things that I show you what we'll say between the game between between Everton on Saturday to Tuesday against Brentford, there was a complete change in certain things, which means I think Unai is seeing the issue. Unai is seeing the issue. However, I do wonder how much confidence he has in the players, because even the starting lineup against Everton for me was, he didn't show a lot of confidence in even the decisions and the purchases that he's made. So seeing Harvey Elliott and Jadon Sancho start on Tuesday was a big boost to me, because like, okay, cool, he's going to give them opportunity. And I really feel like they played well. Definitely Harvey Elliott. He scored our first goal of the season, but I think he was very instrumental in our movement. I was very upset when he took him off, because I feel like there's a potential there with him and Rodgers in that front three. And I really think, and as much as Sancho didn't do much, I do think there was more positivity to his play. And I think what needs to happen is the other players need to get on board with the way that he plays and playing complementary people to him. I don't think having Marlon there was any positivity for him. But let me show you why I feel like we're starting to go in the same direction. So I'm going to be tabbing between two different tabs, one being the Everton tab and one being the Brentford tab. And we could look at certain things to compare them. Imagine 3 days difference, right? And there we go. So Everton. So in Everton, we've got our average positions for the players. As you see, very congested in this area, which is expected. It's where most of our play is, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But I'm going to show you some heat maps as well. Okay, so against Everton, this is where a lot of the play was. Obviously, we were trying to get Bogard to cover in the back with Concert and Mings. But look at where, look where Morgan Rodgers is. Look where John McGinn is, who was meant to be our right-hand side. I know he came into the central once the substitutions happened, once Yuri came off. But look where Emmy was meant to start on the left. What I was saying, Emmy, who was meant to be our left-sided player in the front three. I just want to show you his heat map against Everton. So his average position was here. There was a lot of central play, some on the left here, but it wasn't high up the field. It wasn't necessarily in the final third. If I show you now Jadon Sancho's from Everton, and straight away we can see that the players are slightly high up. There's a little bit more space between the players. You know, we were happy to not have to worry about someone dropping deep, but our centre-backs were higher again. But let's look at Jadon Sancho's heat map for the time that he was on the field. Compare this to Buendia. Look at that. Straight away, you can see you've got a player that is hugging the touchline and high up the pitch. And I think that was complemented by Maatsen, who was also playing pretty high as well. And it was key that they were trying to get some link-up play. And they're obviously not on the ball. They're not really on it as much as they need to be. But they'll get there. I think that relationship is something that can be built over time. I think that should be our left-hand side, if I'm honest with you. You know, again, let's go back to Jadon Sancho. Look how much he's there on the left-hand side, where he should be, where our left winger should be. I know he doesn't have all the pace in the world, but drawing out the defenders creates more space for other players, okay? And again, look at Buendia. It's a lot of this play. And then obviously with that, look at Morgan Rodgers against Everton. This is the problem. And this was the problem. We were struggling with our width. We were struggling with players tripping over each other and all that kind of stuff there. But again, look at the positions here. Very clogged, very congested. But then against Brentford, slightly more space, which means that there was more movement. And I don't know if anybody else realised at the top of the game, especially in the top of the first half and even the second half, a lot more movement. The ball was moving quite quickly. The players were moving quite quickly. You could see how Harvey Elliott and Jadon Sancho just kind of moved differently on the ball and stuff. So there's that. I want to show you one thing, and this is where, you know, look at Marlon against Brentford, please. This was meant to be our focal point in the attack, and this was his average position. This was his heat map. Now, I'm looking at this against Brentford, and I'm thinking, man, that's awful. But then I was looking at Ollie. At least Ollie's a little bit further up. But Ollie's heat map, a little bit further up. But look, hardly anything in the box. Hardly any movement in and around the box, which means we're still struggling. However, my thought process with this is, if you play that front three with Sancho, you've got Harvey Elliott, who did a brilliant job of patrolling that right-hand side, playing more like an inside forward, which would then require Matty Cash to get forward, which, he had to put in a good shift. He did put a good shift in. I think we got some areas there where we can exploit teams. There's skill there. I just think it's something to think about moving forward. And I'll get to my starting 11 for Sunday later on. But I want to show you the comparisons between these two games. If we show you the comparisons between these two games, and that's why I'm saying I feel like we're going in the right direction. It's not perfect. And I'm not usually the one to be the most optimistic person, but there's things that have happened even in just 3 days between Saturday and Tuesday, which say to me, all right, cool, heading in the right direction. So let's look at the stats. Let's look at these stats straight away. Let's go back to the sheet crease here. Against Everton, expected XG 0.54. Big chances, no. Total shots, 7. Fouls, 15. Passes, 384. I'm looking more at the attacking stats. Against Brentford, big chances, 3. Total shots, 12. Compared to 7. No big chances. Straight away, it means that we're being a bit more aggressive, a bit more attacking minded. All right. Let's scroll down to the attack map. Might have to zoom in a little bit. Against Everton. So here's Villa. Again, the same issues that I've been saying for a few weeks. Our highest concentration is on this side and only to the left. I'm not really progressing the ball forward. And it seemed like we struggled against Everton to do that. Against Brentford now, scroll down. So zoom in a little bit. Villa, it's totally different. If anything, a lot of our concentration was on this right-hand side and the left-hand side on the outsides. So the ball was moving away from the central areas, not getting so clogged up. And then we had more progression into the final third, which is crazy to me because we've been struggling. I still feel like when we get to the final third, we don't know what to do, but we're getting there a little bit more. And there's more stats to kind of prove that. But again, just look at against Everton. This is where all of our highest concentration of play was. Against Brentford, a lot better, a lot more. Okay. Let's move forward. The pass map says a lot as well. Over here, against Everton, look how many of our passes in the. This is the defensive side. A lot of concentration in the middle. Only 23% of the movement of passes up the top. Against Brentford, it's the flip. Literally the flip. Literally flip. That's what I like to see. I like to know that we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting into the final third a little bit more. And finally, to kind of prove this, let's have a look at this bit here with the passes. Against Everton, passes in the final third, 105. Against Brentford, 147. 125 completed compared to 75 completed in the final third. We were much better higher up the pitch against Brentford, which is why we probably scored, put them under pressure. and why we actually were. I feel we look better compared to Everton. It's a shame that we lost. But interestingly, look how many against Everton, 43 final third entries, 46. It's the same amount, but just a little bit more potency, a little bit more movement, a little bit more attacking in the final third. The bottom line is I feel like we're going in the right direction. It's not where we want it to be. It's not compared to last year, but it seems as though there's more attacking, more movement with certain players in the team. And maybe this is what Unai's always wanted, but the players just haven't been able to give it to him. But we're moving in the right direction. Now, let's get to Sunday. And what I think, injuries and stuff we have to take into account. This is what I think our first 11 should be. Share the screen. All right, obviously Martinez back in goal. I think we missed out on him on Tuesday, but I know it was a Carabao Cup game, so we didn't play him. I struggle with the back four just because I'm not happy with the back four. Right now, we can't have anyone else but Cash. He had a better game on Tuesday, but I just don't trust him. He was the one to miss the crucial penalty as well. I don't trust him going forward. And also, I don't trust him defensively to not make a mistake. Concert, I feel like he had a much better performance the other day. What I will say, and I did say this on the stream when I was doing the watch along, I think some of his best things in terms of his shot blocking and his anticipation of things actually are good, and I think he's brilliant at it. However, I think a lot of the time they come from a mistake that he's made. So maybe he's lost the ball and had to recover and made a great sliding tackle, or he's given the ball away and now he has to block the shot. I feel like that's the part that a lot of Villa fans don't see, because a lot of people rate him, and I do rate him, but I think his mistakes kind of cause him to have to do the spectacular things, and I would love for him to just not have the mistakes. I saw him do something on Tuesday that I don't think I've seen him do. He played a diagonal ball to Sancho and it was a dot and it opened up defence. And I think this is what I'm saying about our centre-backs. When I watch top-level centre-backs, when I watch the Van Dijks and I watch some of the guys in Spain and Italy and all that kind of stuff, like, and some of the guys in France, in PSG, they break lines, man. Top centre-backs in this league, in the Premier League as well, Arsenal centre-backs, so Salibas, they seek to, and the Mosquera, obviously he's come through now as well, but like, they break lines with their passes. John Stones break line with their passes. They open up games. You know, they're deep-lying playmakers in some respects, you know? So that's where I feel like we struggle, because I don't see it enough. I don't see the passes that break the lines. Mings does it sometimes, but he's hit and miss. And I don't think Concer likes to do it. I would love for him to add that part to his game. I think that was what would separate him from the rest of them. Mings, the reason why I'm putting him in there, because I just think that Pau is a bit too soft. I prefer Pau going forward. Like, like I said, he's the centre-back that I think could do that in terms of breaking the lines. And he does that. You know, he's got a good attacking eye. If I could merge all three of them guys, you had the best centre back in the world. But Mings, just for his leadership, holding the line, brutish approach, I think it's necessary. Going up north, going up to the north, but it's more going up to the north, and I think we need some resilience there. And Maatsen, I think Maatsen is our best left back. You know, Dean. It's time for Maatsen to get some run time now. And you know what? That comes with the risk of... because he's still young. But going forward, I think his link-up play with Sancho is there. And his ability to get forward and put balls in. I think that's what it is. In the middle, Kamara. Hopefully he's past fit, and McGinn. Now, I feel like one of them needs to be the one that will sacrifice and kind of drop and kind of cover, be that willing to be the back three member when everyone goes forward. Now I think they've both got similar types of, in terms of that ability to be the sweeper. I prefer Kamara. I think Kamara's got the ability to play on the half turn more than McGinn. Whilst Tielemans out, I think this is our best two at the moment. Onana's out, Tielemans out, Barkley's out. In a dream world, I think it'd be Kamara and Tielemans. I think Kamara would be able to free up Tielemans to kind of go forward and stuff. This has to be our front three, man. Has to. I think Harvey Elliott is brilliant just from the movement, and I think what we can see from Rodgers, just in terms of how he plays when he's at England, is that he plays up to the people around him. So I feel like he will play better with Elliott and the likes of Elliott and Sancho, which I signed him. I think that link-up play could actually be exquisite. They just have to get the ball. And what I don't want is for him to come searching for the ball in these areas. I want him to be receiving the ball on a half turn here or here, but not be coming here for the ball and coming here for the ball. Yes, he can do those driving runs and all that kind of stuff, but it'd be good for him to kind of get the ball here, be able to lay it off and spin around the corner, all that kind of stuff there. That's the kind of Rodgers I want to see. And then finally, and Sancho again, if he could do the same thing that he did, against Brentford, occupying this space here, coming and moving around here, linking up with Rodgers on the edge of the box, playing it in, bam, around the corner, in. Yeah, all that kind of, that's what we need to be doing. And then obviously Ollie Watkins, I think he just needs a goal. We saw from Tuesday that Marlon is not the replacement. Hell no, man. Ain't no way, man. He's not the answer. And maybe we need to look for, I don't know, maybe one of these young bucks can come through, you know what I mean, and be a good understudy to Watkins. But, Marlon ain't it, bro. But I just think he needs to go. But I think with those three behind him, I think there's an opportunity for him to kick on now. And I think this is the key game for it. So that's my starting 11 for Sunday. Ideal. Whether Unai does that, if I see Bendir, okay, sorry. I would like for him to be assertive. And I know that Sunderland are currently sitting 7th, I believe, in the league. I know they've had a good start to the campaign. But we are Aston Villa, bro. And I think gone are the days where we succumb to other people's game plan. We need to impose our game plan on others. We need to adopt the mentality of the bigger teams where everywhere we go, they know who we are. They know what we're coming with. And we're going to play that game and we're going to tear you apart doing it. Why not? Why can't we be like City? Why can't we be like Liverpool and Arsenal when they go away, that people have to consider your tactics? Nah, man. That's what I think, man. That's what I think. And I think when Villa start to embrace our bigness, or it's really poor wordage, but embrace who we are as a big club, we can stand toe to toe with anyone. We just gotta believe it, man. And I don't know whether Unai has he lost the locker room. I don't think he has. I think they just need some inspiration. In fact, get me in that locker room, bro. Get me in there. Let me speak to the Donnies and be like, understand who you are. We're not a small club. We're playing like a small club. We're playing like a club that's just come up from the Championship. We are the Aston Villa, bro. We are the pride of the Midlands, bro. And we have to play like that. So, yeah. That's what we're going to do. So that's my breakdown for midweek mashup. I want to appreciate you guys for coming through and sitting with me and yeah, you already know what it is. Continue to, as I said, keep liking, keep sharing. Please subscribe to the channel. I want to hear your views. Am I right about the starting 11? Am I right about the ethos that we've got at the moment? You know, what do you think needs to change? All that good stuff there. You know, if for some of you, I want to hear what your starting 11 is for Sunday, considering the injuries that we do have, and where do we go from here? I do think that this game is pivotal. I think if we lose it, we're in a world of trouble. Not necessarily Emery, but I think that as a team, I think we need to get a win. We need to get goals in the Premier League as well. So yeah, guys, thank you for joining me for Midweek Mashup. I will be doing a watch along on Sunday. Join me for that. Yeah, join me for that, and we get it cracking. All right, listen, appreciate you guys. Continue to support the channel. Up the Villa always. Peace.